Now we're going to head into a really wonderful educational webinar. Of the many things that I'm grateful for in my life, of the many blessings I've had in my life, is one of the things I'm most grateful for is the number of amazing male mentors I've had in my life. And the reason I acknowledge that as one of my greatest blessings is because I know a lot of guys haven't. And I work with a lot of guys that haven't had great male mentors in their life, and I can see how that's a challenge for them to learn the balance between masculine and feminine energy, to learn how to be a good leader, a good mentor, a good teacher, a good heart sharer. And my father and many other people have been in that line of role for me, senseis, yogis, etc., as has this man, our next speaker, Bob Demetrician. And it's interesting because he and I have never shared a meal together. We've never even had a conversation that lasted more than 5 minutes. We've been at 2 conferences, thank you for that. We've been at 3 conferences together, I think, and I've just had a chance to observe the way he works and the way he lives his life. And the thing that I really observe the most about Bob is the fact that he quietly does service for others in every aspect of his life. And I've seen it working in this breakout room with him today. I see it in the way he carries himself on Facebook, the comments that he makes, the things that he's engaged in, the ministry, if you will, that he lives in every step of his life. And that's why he's been one of my male role models, even though we haven't really done that much on the path directly together yet. So let me tell you about his resume then, before we bring him up to the stage. Bob Demetrician lives in New Jersey. He's a professional musician, a business systems analyst, and an ordained minister. Bob and his wife, Fran, the amazing Fran back here, are the co-founders and spiritual directors of Common Ground Spiritual Community, serving people of all faith traditions, all in capital ALL. It is so beautiful. Since becoming certified trainers and trailblazers in infinite possibilities and playing the Matrix, which is a big part of their teaching, in 2013 they have taught many classes via in-person, via webinar, as well as at their personal sacred center that they call home, away from home, which is Sedona, Arizona, where they're headed after this conference. Today Bob's going to talk about how to run online programs. He's had extensive experience with various service platforms, preparing presentations, launching and running web-based businesses. Bob can help you understand and leverage the technology of presentation tools and make it super easy for you to understand. I was not a believer a year and a half ago. I am now. Methods, he's got a lot of methods that will help you reach a broader audience just by offering material. He does this as a webinar. He's going to condense it down today into 1 hour and give us like 6 hours of information in about 59 minutes. So Bob's going to teach his material at their Pie in the Sky studio and web conferencing, offering his services as a host and a moderator for you and other trainers to run your own programs when you leave here. So he's not just going to support you today, he's going to be there for you to help you if you want to talk to him in the future as well. So I'm super excited to give the stage to him now. Help me welcome to the stage, Bob Demetrician.
So, whoever feels anxious when you think about using technology? This is fun. You know, if only there was someone you could trust, something I could say that might put your mind at ease about using technology. I don't know, maybe. The subtitle of the program is Leveraging the Technology of Online Presentation Tools, and I chose that kind of wording because leveraging means first awareness. You know, we become aware of what's available to us, and then we become aware of how we can use it. Whether we use it or not, or how we use it going into that is going to be up to us. But someone that I worked with when I was getting started in IT and computer programming gave me some good advice, and I gave this advice to Fran also when she was beginning to learn how to use computer applications and you know, new operating system and how do you know, work with this program and that program. And my response would always be, just play with it. And so, who's anxious about play? Nobody's anxious about playing and stuff. Meaning, take your time and experiment with it and find out what it does, how it might work for you and how it might not, because you're not obligated to use everything, of course. So that's what I want to encourage in all of you when it comes to learning about and experimenting with technology tools and methods, is to just bring your sense of play to it and don't let it freak you out. There are lots of people who are accustomed to using it because of their work life or whatever, and that's been my case. So, you know, just because we've logged more hours in it, you know, doesn't mean we wrote the stuff, but it means we might be able to help you get the hang of it, you know. So there are a lot of people in the trainers community that have that kind of experience and that kind of background, and it will give you some assistance. So what we're going to talk about today is, first, I created a Facebook page years ago called the Infinite Possibilities Tech Support Forum. So that's the full name of it. This whole program started as a breakout session at the Train the Trainer conference in San Diego. I think it was 2014. So I've been doing this talk informally, you know, since then. So from that breakout session, I thought, you know, it would be a good idea if we had a Facebook page where people could go, and we have a variety of technical background experience in our trainers community already. So in this way, this is sort of like a bulletin board area where if you have a question, you can ask the forum. You might get an answer from me, or somebody else might beat me to it. Or it might be a question that I don't know how to answer very well. I'm not a Mac user. You know, Fran was using Mac for a while, and I always said, well, if you run into a problem and I fix it, it's going to be by accident, because I'm not going to know what to look for. I've been a PC user all along. So, find the Infinite Possibilities Tech Support Forum page. We'll talk some more about that, about what goes on there. We'll talk a little bit about conference calls. There's a lot of information in this PowerPoint, and some of it is going to look like I'm just blowing through it, but I'm going to give you the main points. And like you've heard, I do offer this program as a webinar every few months because people are getting certified all the time and are curious and want this information. We're also going to talk about video conference calls as an example, Skype, which has been around for a pretty long time already. And then we'll talk about presentation software and things like PowerPoint and slide decks. Then we'll get into webinar and web conferencing, which is the more current platform. That's where most of the online programs are happening now. And then at the end of the program, this is where I want to make sure we have time, is a step-by-step guide to running an online program that includes preparing, rehearsing, hosting, and following up with your participants. So this Infinite Possibilities Tech Support Forum page, it's a members-only page where trainers and trailblazers can network with each other. Trainers needing help or advice can just ask the forum. You just put a question out there. Can anybody help me with this? Now we've got some tech-savvy trainers, like I said, that can make themselves available, either for a fee, for free for quick answers and advice and offer some ideas, or to maybe enter into a fee-based relationship in case maybe you need some private one-on-one lessons on how to work with PowerPoint, or how to build a web page, or you know, anything that's going to be more focused that's not just a question and answer thing. There are people that have skills in a lot of things that I don't even have, you know, people that are really accustomed to using email database services, like Constant Contact, MailChimp, things like that. So what we also have here is that, like I said, it's a bulletin board area for the exchange of information and ideas, as well as a networking and marketing platform for the trainers that have the tech skills that might want to offer themselves to you. New members can be added by existing members, but must be approved by the administrator, and that's me. So this is an example of, there's some articles that have been posted to the Tech Support Forum page. This is the first article that someone offered. This is from Mala Shah. She's one of our trainers who lives in the UK. And once I put this page up, she's like, I can give you an article, how to embed music on a PowerPoint presentation. She also then gave us one about how to embed video in a PowerPoint presentation. I think her instructions are PC-based. You can kind of tell by the interface screen. It's not a Mac screen. But generally, the step-by-steps are pretty much the same. I'm not going to go through this, but I'm just showing you that we've got this great article. It's a few pages long. And there's a few articles up there about how to do this or how to do that. So once you get on the page, you can click over to the Files section and see a menu of articles. Conference calls. Everybody's been on a conference call at some point, right? That's not new, that's been around forever. There is free conference calling, and it's interesting to find out about what makes it free. And there's also premium conference calling. And these are conference call services where you actually pay a premium. You pay a fee to get extra features. So we know the great thing about conference calls is you can get everybody from all over the place or all over the world together into the same conversation. And you can be as relaxed as you want to be. You can be very casual, dress casually. You can be on your couch. You don't have to necessarily look like you're at work or whatever. And it's sometimes a good thing that people can't see what you're doing. You could be out mowing the lawn or taking out the trash or whatever, playing with the dog, but you're still engaged in your conversation. And sometimes it's really a good thing that they can't see what you're doing. Because they can get pretty boring sometimes. And sometimes when they get just so boring, they'll just pass out some nooses you can just hang yourself if the call runs too long. So there's this comedy team, a sketch comedy team called Trip and Tyler. I don't know if you guys have seen these, but they make promotional videos for certain businesses. So here's one that they made about a conference call in real life. So imagine that these people are on a conference call, they can't actually see each other, but they've joined a conference call together.
Trip Crosby
has joined the meeting.
Beth?
Has joined the meeting.
Hello?
Tyler?
No, this is Beth from ICS.
Oh, hey Beth. How are you doing?
Oh, good, yeah. Just making it,
Tyler?
Has joined the meeting.
All right, well, this is Trip. Who's here? Tyler's here.
Beth's here.
Okay, the purpose of today's meeting is to discuss the...
Yeah, I'll be able to do it in like 30 minutes. John?
Has joined the meeting.
Hi, John. Hi. I was just trying to go over the purpose of today's meeting, which is to discuss the deliver... Tyler?
Has joined the meeting.
Sorry guys, I got cut off.
Put in your access code.
No, that's your PIN number.
It should be a 9-digit number.
Try pressing the pound key.
Paul.
Has joined the meeting.
Any questions before we move on?
Yes, this is Beth. What's our best plan of attack for the second quarter?
Question
We
actually...
should do.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I think
Well,
what we should do.
It actually depends on how you look at it, because the
really
really Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You've been sales forever.
Let me just say that it was a great graph, John. Tyler?
Well, my main concern with the projections from JIR was that.
Did we lose Tyler again?
Hello?
John, are you guys taking distributions? John?
Oh, my bad. I was on mute.
So I prepared a presentation. I'm sharing it with all of you. You should be able to see it on your screen right now.
Got it.
I don't see it. This is how you download plugin.
We are all using Macs, I'm assuming.
How can you?
Great. Paul, do you have any comments on staffing?
I was looking at we get it.
Rex, get down!
Type that up.
To me, staffing is I just want to go over a couple of details as we move into our next section here. We got 3 new departments coming on.
breakout, we'll do this.
By the end of Q4. To give them detailed evaluations each month so that we know. That's it, guys. You'll send out a recap email that could have basically taken the place of this whole meeting, correct?
Yep, always do.
Yeah, thanks for doing that, man. Dave, you been here the whole time? Yeah. Well, thanks everyone once again.
So the point is, when you're doing online programs, you're going to run into glitches. Stuff happens, and the same thing happens when you're doing live events too. So don't sweat it. It's all in the recovery. So free conference calling and what makes it free. I'm going to blow through this pretty quickly. Basically, you've got. It's different from traditional conference calling in that there's no organizer fees, and the reason it gets free is because companies that are offering the service are in partnership with the local phone companies in a revenue sharing relationship. So the conference call company is increasing phone traffic for the local carrier. The local carrier is making more money because their local call or their toll calls are local calls. It's not an 800 number, and the conference call company gets a cut from that. Right? So if you're on free conference calling, there's some examples out there. There's freeconference.com and freeconferencecall.com. They look the same, but they're actually two different services. If you're going to do conference calls, be sure to pre-distribute your teaching materials. So if we're working with IP training, you want to get your workbooks out to people. So you can physically mail hard copy workbooks, or you can download the PDFs of those workbooks and email them to your participants. You can also share your documents through a cloud folder where they can download everything themselves. And here's some example of cloud folders. I think a lot of people know about Dropbox. That's probably the most common one. And invest in a headset and a phone that has a headset jack. You'll save your neck from having the phone receiver, on your, because the conference call can go pretty long, and you could be on these calls for, hours maybe. So a headphone set is also going to make sure that you're going to be heard really well, okay? So that's really helpful. Like the guy in there who had himself on mute, ask your participants to mute themselves until it's their time to speak. That way everybody's going to hear you much better. A lot of these services, you also have the option of muting everyone, so you're just in broadcast mode. But if everybody can just find the mute button on their phone, they all have it now. Premium conferencing is where participants are dialing a toll-free number. And this is usually hosted by, corporations or perhaps nonprofits in a way that they can justify the cost of offering people a toll-free number. And with a premium conferencing, you've got a whole menu of extra features available to you. Maestro was a pretty popular one. I don't know if they're still as popular as they were, but one of the features that Maestro offered that you wouldn't get in a free conference call service is if you've got 15 people on a conference call, you can break them up into chat rooms, so you can have subgroups. You can break them into small groups. You could make 5 rooms and put 3 people in each room, and then as the host, you could actually walk the rooms. You could go to this room or that room and visit, eavesdrop a little bit, see how it's going, and participate. So you don't need to know all of these, but just know that there are lots and lots of features that are available when you're using a premium service. So Skype, a lot of people have used Skype by now. The free service is basic one-to-one with video, just you and another person. The premium service gives you a group video conferencing. And so it looks like this. And that's what most web conferencing looks like now. When you've got a gallery view like this, I call it Brady Bunch mode, where everybody's up on the screen. So this is another video by the Tripp and Tyler team. This is now a video conference call in real life.
Hey, Paul. Thanks for being here on time. Paul? Hey, Paul, can you hear me? I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yes. 1 second. Paul's having a sound issue.
I can't hear you. Try adjusting your output settings.
Can you hear me?
It's the gear icon.
Tyler, are you on hotel Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Never mind, I got it. I just had to change a few settings.
Great. Get started. Yeah. Do you have headphones?
Going for one.
No, it's just smell. Hey, Beth.
Certainly.
We should plan extra time for the updates. There's pretty much one every time.
Sounds like someone just joined.
Hey guys, it's John. I had to call in. I'm stuck in traffic. Have I missed anything yet?
No, it would have been nice for you to join the rest of us, but we'll see you when you get home. All right, well, everyone is here. Finally, Tyler, do you have that financial report?
Well, it's been the last few weeks updating our books, and I got some great news for you. And a great Frozen?
I know, we lost Tyler.
Hey guys, it sounds like Tyler was cutting out.
We know, John. All right, while we wait on Tyler, why don't we go over all of the reports from Beth, are you with us?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, everyone, it is the police, so I just wanted to go over a couple of the areas of work. Okay. Life's out of town this week. Daddy's, so sorry. Okay, you just spilled grape juice on the carpet. Daddy's in a meeting. Tyler, can you go over the numbers one more time, please?
I thought Beth had an adjustment.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, that's my too inside.
Hey guys, hang on. I'm gonna join in. Hey, what platform are you guys on? Skype? FaceTime? Never mind, I see it. You went to the invite.
Okay, now I can see everybody. Let's reschedule and let's just do a regular old conference call, okay? Paul, can you have David send out the 9-digit passcode?
I heard you.
Yeah, he's been here the whole time.
All right, everybody. I'll see you later.
So before we get into web conferencing and that sort of thing, let's just talk about presentations first. A study done by the Wharton School of Business showed that the use of visual aids reduced meeting times by 28%. Another study found that audiences believe presenters who use visuals are more professional and credible than presenters who merely speak. Other research indicates that meetings and presentations reinforced with visuals help participants reach decisions and consensus more quickly. So there's another good reason for it is if you're a little nervous about being in front of people, all eyes are not on me the whole time. So that's something to consider too. Okay, so presentation software and hardware. We've all heard of Microsoft PowerPoint. There are other ones out there. If you're an Apple user, Keynote would be the equivalent of PowerPoint. There's one called Prezi, which is actually only exists in the cloud. You don't actually run that on your physical machine. I've tried it. It's a little, it does a lot of like zooming in and zooming out and then zooming over here. You get a little dizzy with it. But I think it's good if you're working with kids and you want to try to keep them really like visually stimulated. Using a presentation mouse like we have here is really helpful, and some of them look like this is the kind that I have. It's a real simple one, and the one that we're using here actually has a timer built into it, which we're not using, so if I go over, that's how it goes. I use a presentation timer on my iPhone, which I find is very, very helpful. So you can set timers for any amount of time, and you see here that it's got numbers in green, amber, and red. So like a traffic light, as long as your numbers are green, you've got plenty of time. But you set the parameter of when you want that timer to turn amber. So maybe at the 5-minute mark, when you got 5 minutes left, the numbers are they're going to be yellow. And then when you got 2 minutes left, they're going to turn red. And if you tick all the way down to 0, and you keep going, it'll start ticking negative numbers and flashing at you like, get off the stage, wrap it up. So this is what it looks like while it's ticking in green. If you're doing presentations in person like we're doing today, invest in a decent projector. Prices can be all over the place. They can go from like $300 to $1,000. But what you want to look for is the lumens feature. That's basically telling you how bright and sharp it's going to be in a fully lit room. Generally, you want to look for something that's like 3,000 lumens. But if you do some, if you ask the Google, everybody just ask the Google, what's a good projector or what should I look for, you'll learn about stuff like that. And also, if you are having sound in your presentation, whether you're using music or a video or something like that, use a good pair of speakers. Don't use the speakers that are built into your laptop because it's going to sound like it's coming out of a little tiny radio. This will give you a fuller sound. So webinars or web conferencing is live streaming video when you've got full motion webcam and digital video camera. You can also share multimedia files, and this is all pushed out to your audience. And it uses a VoIP, which means voice over internet protocol, so that you're getting real-time audio along with your video. And it gives you the option to record your meetings as well. So, like I've been using the Zoom platform. It's pretty popular now, so it makes really good quality recordings, and you can offer them up for viewing later on. If somebody can't make your live session, they can log on later and catch up with the recording. Some of them also offer like a whiteboard, which is like if everybody's going to collaborate on some ideas, imagine you're all sitting in a room with a whiteboard, you can actually write your ideas on there and see what sticks. Most of them have a text chat window, so that's if you don't want to interrupt the conversation that's going on, or maybe you're in broadcast only mode. This is a way for the participants who are listening, they can communicate with you by typing in a text message and you'll see it come up. It can be to the host, or it can be person to person, or it can be a text broadcast out to everyone. I've found it's particularly helpful if somebody's trying to join my session and they can't hear. Maybe they see video but they can't hear me, like Paul. And I can type to them and give them some troubleshooting ideas. Say, have you tried this, have you tried that? Maybe you need to log out and come back in or something. Some of them offer polls and surveys, where you can say how many people, have heard of this or have experience with that, and you can get results come back to you. I've never used that, but you can. And screen sharing and desktop sharing was something that was important to me because I like to share multimedia presentations with audio and video. And so having good quality video and being able to share a multimedia presentation was really important to me, and a screen share. So some of the software and service providers that are out there, Adobe Acrobat is used at the corporate level a lot. I think it's pretty expensive to use as a personal account. Anymeeting.com is one that I used for a while. Cisco is also used a lot at the corporate level, as is Citrix. I don't know if LogMeIn is still out there, but it was for a while. And Zoom US is the one that's really popular right now. I think that the audio and video quality is all HD, high def, and I think it's a better platform. So I've gotten pretty accustomed to it. So when you're hosting online sessions, as the host, I highly recommend that you use a cable connection, a wired connection to your modem, rather than relying on Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, the data is actually delivered in like burst packages, whereas a cable connection is going to be more of a fluid connection of your signal. And as the host, you don't want people to see a choppy presentation. You want it to be as smooth as if you were sitting across the table from each other. Invest in a good quality microphone and a webcam. So this is an example of what a Logitech webcam would look like. It would clip to the top of either your laptop or to the top of your desktop monitor. Now, most laptops already have a camera built into the lid. Some of them are really good and some of them are just okay. So if you compare the onboard built-in camera to something like a Logitech that's HD, you might see a vast improvement in sharpness and quality on an external one like this, and it would just connect into your USB port. Also, I use a high-quality microphone for mine. This happened to be a studio microphone that I had to go through a converter that converted the microphone cable to a USB so I could plug it directly into my computer. But now they're making lots of these that are already USB microphones. A really good one is the Blue microphone. They make a model called the Blue Snowball, and it's not very expensive, maybe $40 or $50. A couple of different models, but you're not going to need a lot of features on this. You just want it to sound good and that it, no hassle, plug right into your computer. So when I was shopping for what webinar platform I wanted to use, I basically just started going through them and I made a comparison chart to figure out what features are important to me. how much do they cost, which ones have free services, and do they maybe require a download? You know, like, are my participants going to have to download software to be able to use it? Now, for quite a while, I used anymeeting.com, and the reason I liked it is because it had this a PayPal interface, meaning within the anymeeting.com website, I could set up a registration page, and people would be directed to that as the landing page, and they would actually fill in the information that I pre-selected that I wanted to know. I want to know their name, where they live, their cell phone number in case I need to reach them and they're having trouble connecting, and their email address so I can communicate with them before and after the sessions. And it was great because it integrated the registration information so that all I had to do is, after like 10 people had registered, I click one button and it downloads an Excel spreadsheet of everybody that registered with all the information per person that I asked for in columns. And the registration fee, once I entered my PayPal information, went directly to my PayPal account. It was like a one-stop shopping. And I thought that was a really great feature, and it helped me to get started. But after a while, there were things about anymeeting that were not good enough for me, particularly the screen sharing and the multimedia was a limiting factor. So I wound up going with Zoom. Once I got the hang of the registration, making a registration page and collecting that information, it's like, so I do those things myself now and keep my own spreadsheet of that information. And I create a registration page that includes that kind of information, and my registration page directs the funds to my PayPal account. So I figured out how to do that part myself. But the screen share and the HD quality audio video was much superior to anymeeting. So anymeeting has a lot of the same features. You can share a PowerPoint presentation, but the thing that made me crazy about it was, in order to share a PowerPoint, I had to upload it to the service and run it from there. I wasn't actually running it from my machine. And if I wanted to share videos with somebody, I had to exit out of the PowerPoint and put in a YouTube link and run that, which means you might get an ad first, you might have a 30-second ad that's going to run first, and sometimes you're in an environment like this where you can't count on Wi-Fi. So embedded videos were not going to work, and that was just making me crazy. I got pretty good at saving my YouTube links and being able to paste them in real fast, but the margin for error was something that made me, a little crazy. So this is what the anymeeting interface looks like on the free level. And the free service means you've got this panel over here that's constantly showing advertisements. And after a while, you kind of get used to it and ignore it, but, wasn't that great. And if we're doing a screen share, this is what my screen share would look like. I couldn't get rid of this background. That was, built in. If you had the premium service where you're paying a premium level, you probably have more control over that, and this panel is going to be gone. Your participants are over there in the upper left, and your chat window is there in the lower left. So then we started using Zoom, and very, very similar features, but it's high definition video and audio, which is very important to me, and you can get that full screen view where you're just seeing the presenter, and it has voice detection, so whoever is speaking, it's going to switch to that person in the full screen view, right? It takes up your entire screen, so it's either all the presenter or it's the person who's asking a question, or whoever it is that's speaking gets the full screen view. And you also get gallery view, that Brady Bunch mode, where you can see everybody at once. It's the full multimedia presentations with embedded audio and video that sold me on this platform, and the HD quality of the audio and video. So this is what the Zoom interface looks like. It's much cleaner. There's no advertisements. And when I took this screenshot, it was only me logged on. Here's Fran with me. But if you've got a number of people logged on, you've got a strip of webcams here. It'll show you up to 4 at a time. And if you want to see other than those 4 people, you can click this arrow and it'll show you the next 4 people, and you can scroll back and forth. So this is actually me sharing this presentation in a screen share mode. So it takes up the whole real estate of the screen. this is where the rubber meets the road. This is the meat of the program here, and I want to take your questions as they come up, so we don't have to wait for a Q&A. Go ahead.
With Zoom, is there any kind of lighting that you recommend? Because I'm not happy with how our lighting is.
Yes, and this is true not just of Zoom, but of anything. I recommend, there are articles out there about webinar lighting that are going to tell you to purchase photographic quality equipment and reflectors and diffusers, and you don't need that. All you need is some decent quality incandescent lighting somewhere in front of you. Also, if you don't have reflection-free coating and you wear eyeglasses, get new lenses and get the anti-glare, because otherwise people are going to see your screen reflected instead of your eyes, okay? So that's really going to be helpful. So in our room, where we do webinars from home, we've got a simple desk lamp over here on the right. Over here on the left, we've got a floor lamp, torche lamp, that's throwing light up to the ceiling. So you're just kind of getting like a natural wash of regular light. The other desk we have in that room is actually facing the window, so it gets a lot of white light. So it looks completely different from that angle when I'm at that computer than if I'm at the computer over here that has the two lights on either side. So just decent quality incandescent lighting. Light bulbs, go for the soft white that have an amberish quality to them. Don't go for the bright white ones, because that'll look kind of blue. Yeah.
I did the tech monthly call, and I was surprised. They had all of our faces on there. And I'm like, oh, there I am. And I saw the other people.
That would be the gallery view.
Okay.
That's what I call Brady Bunch mode.
Did tech play patient?
No, I think they're using the Zoom US platform, and that's at the free level. The premium level of Zoom will get you more participants you can get into a meeting room. And there are several levels of premium. I just opted into the first level of premium. It's like $99 for the year. And I felt like it was really worth it because, I'm not limited to just 20 or 25 participants. I can offer it to a lot more people in one session, in the same session. Yes?
So you said that you have the landing, you created your landing page.
Yeah.
So do you have that, can we access, can we buy it, can we get it?
Well, that's just part of a website that I built, and that's not part of this program.
Okay.
But there are people that are better at building web pages than I am. I play. I just play with it,
So
and
it's not
I play
just-
with it until I get it to do what I want it to do. But I'm not really an expert at it. Yeah. Yes, please.
I've used Zoom for a couple of years, and I do a weekly call where we record it, and then I download it to my computer, and then I upload it to a secret YouTube channel where they go through my website and watch that YouTube video, and it stays with the membership because they pay a subscription
Yeah.
to me. The issue I've had is when I run a PowerPoint and share it during the Zoom meeting, nobody can hear the audio on the video links I use. Like I was doing an IP and I used the one with the water. And they could see the visual, but they couldn't hear anything. And it's happened more than
In
once.
Zoom, when you do screen share, when you go into the screen share option menu, before you actually hit share my screen, it's gonna ask you to select what do you want to share. Do you want to share your desktop, or do you want to share just this program, whatever? If you're going to share your desktop or whatever, there's a checkbox to click that says share computer audio.
Never saw it. Thank you.
It's near the bottom of that window.
Thank you.
Carol.
What do you recommend? I travel some, and when I use Zoom, but I also do Facebook Lives. And the background, like when I'm at home, I'm in a one-bedroom apartment, so they see my entire living room.
Yes.
Is there any background suggestions you have that I can travel with?
So in our home office, again, if I'm sitting at the desk that faces the window, directly behind me, they're just seeing a closet, But if I'm sitting at the desk that has the better lighting, and that's where we do most of our webinars from, is this great blue wall behind us. And it was already painted that color when we moved in. So we've got some really nice things hung on that wall that, offers like a nice contrasting color. There's bookcases on either side, looks like really professional. So there's actually, if you check out photographic supply, there are backdrops you can buy. So if you live in a space and the place you're going to do this from, you're just not going to be able to create a good looking backdrop, you can just tape up one of these backdrops and have like clouds and sky, or stars, like the universe, the night sky behind you, or whatever. There's all kinds of things out there. I don't think they're expensive.
Okay.
But, it's kind of fun to have different kinds of backdrops you can play with. And by the way, some of these questions are answered when I do this as the webinar, I do it as a 2-part webinar. So the first part of it is what you're seeing today, and lots of time for interaction with people, because depending who's attending, the conversation is always different, because they're bringing different questions and different ideas about how they want to use it. The second session is when we review what I call the resource reference guide. I created a PDF of helpful articles. Some of them were offered by our fellow trainers, like the one you saw that's on the tech support forum page, and I asked their permission if I can make it part of this reference guide. Some of them are just articles that I found on the internet that offer suggestions about lighting, about camera angles, about using mail database services like Constant Contact and that sort of thing. Things that I'm not, necessarily well versed in, but the information's out there.
Is your Snowball microphone, is it a freestanding or has it got an earpiece?
It's a desktop microphone, and it comes with a little tripod, so it'll stand right on your desk.
Freestanding.
Right. Now, you saw the guy that was wearing the little earbuds, the white Apple earbuds, with the inline microphone that's right here. They're actually very good. If you don't mind that being visible, the sound quality is quite good on that microphone.
I use that for my client sessions. I have an international clientele, so I do it all over Skype and Zoom. And some of them will tell me that they can hear the birds in the background. So what they're actually hearing is either the ceiling fan, or they're hearing something that's interfering with my microphone in my room. And so I've looked for a better microphone, but I want one that's going to focus on my voice and not
But if you have sound and background sound in the environment, a better microphone might just make it more noticeable. It's not going to filter it out.
I'm not hearing anything with my ears,
Really?
but they're hearing it through the microphone headset.
If you have a magnet in the fan, does magnetic field that the wire, because the wire is like...
Could be.
Okay.
That's right. Some fans have a little magnet for balancing, because without that magnet, the fan kind of does like this.
So even if the fan's not on?
Oh, if the fan's not on? I don't know.
It's still there? Okay.
Oh,
These birds are nice. Well,
Birds.
that's what she told me. She said, I was getting all stressed out when I heard the birds, and I just got so comfortable, and I thought, thank you, universe, because there's no birds here.
So we're going to get short of time, so I want to take you through this step-by-step guide of running online programs. So, and I'm only speaking from my own experience. I'm not saying that this is like the only way to do it, but from my experience of doing it a number of times, this is the method that's worked well for me. So, set a date and get the word out. You've heard the expression, ready, fire, aim, or you're not ready, but do it anyway. Get the word out there, because there's nothing like a deadline to light a fire on you, okay? And then as the word is getting received out there, start setting up a method for collecting payment. People can mail you physical checks, or you can set up a payment collection site like PayPal. Create a registration method of some kind. Now, people could email you their information, and from that you can create an email distribution list so that all of your, however many people have registered, you can send out an email blast to them. You can create a web page that will be a registration page. The kinds of things you want to put on that web page is a description of the course, how your program can help them, the payment instructions or a hyperlink to that payment site, like a PayPal, and please have them fill in their contact info, like their email address, their cell phone number, where they live, and that sort of thing. Next, create a tracking sheet of some kind of your registration so you know who you've got and you know how to reach out to them and communicate with them. Again, include that contact info, especially phone and email address, and what their payment amounts are in case maybe they kind of hit the register button but their payment didn't get to you. This is the kind of stuff you want to make sure you're on top of. Create a confirmation reply message, something that's repeatable. It doesn't have to be look totally canned, but something that you've pre-written. It covers everything you want them to know. Things like, I'm confirming your payment, thank you for registering, and here's some information about the next steps, things you need to know about our first meeting is going to be on such and such a date. Please, review this material, or whatever you want to say to them before they get together with you for the first time. So again, something repeatable, and then you can just copy that text and paste it into the next email that you're responding and confirming someone's payment by changing the name. And if there's something different you want to tell that person from the last one, that's where you can make a change. Schedule your sessions and give your participants some sort of access method. So when you're doing these online sessions, you don't want to make it something where just anybody can wander into your online session. You want to control the access to it. So control access to only those that have registered using a hyperlink and a site address and perhaps a passcode. In Zoom, you can use your personal meeting ID, it would be the same all the time, but you can establish a passcode that only your registered participants are going to have, or you can let Zoom auto-generate the meeting ID. That way, your friend that you often communicate with on your regular ID won't happen to click on your link and wind up in the middle of a private session that you're doing with a class. So Zoom will auto-generate, and it will be something different every time. It'll be a unique meeting ID. That way you keep it just to that meeting and just those people. What I really like to do is create a Facebook page, a group page for the people who have registered. So similar to the Train the Trainer page or the Yippee Chat page or the Tech Support Forum page, it's a members-only group, and you add the members as they register, okay? After you confirm their payment. And from that Facebook page, provided people are Facebook users and they're getting notifications in their email inbox from Facebook, you can post announcements to the whole group there. You can upload course materials in advance, so instead of having to email everybody the PDF and, oh, I forgot that person, I'm going to have to email that one too. And this way you just upload it to the Facebook page and they go to the files section and download whatever they need. So uploading your course materials in advance will take some of the headache out of it for you.
Is that free to start a group Facebook page?
Yeah, there's no fee for that. And from within the group page, you can schedule group events. So you've already told them we're going to meet on next Tuesday and the Tuesday after that, but you can actually use Facebook to schedule Facebook events within that group, sort of like the Train the Trainer conference that's happening now was an event within the Train the Trainer Facebook page. And that way it'll automatically send out notices that you have a meeting coming up tomorrow from Facebook. And, oh, by the way, that Facebook page also, the discussion area, which is what you first see when you go to a group page, is an area where everybody can communicate with each other in between sessions, where you can keep the conversation going after the session. Once I create these, I never actually take them down, because each webinar class that I offer becomes like a little community into itself. And so we can always say hi to each other, and you can maybe come back on there and somebody can say, I did my first webinar and here's what went really well and here's where I had challenges. And you can just kind of stay in touch with people. Yeah.
I was also going to say that you can also invite them into a global community that you have from people of webinars in the past, so they can build that community that way too.
And since I record these webinars, sometimes I will leave it up as available for people who want to register just for the recording. And they've never been part of the live sessions, but now they're taking the same, and they're meeting the same people online that were part of the live sessions. I'm going to include them in that Facebook page, and I'll even say, please welcome so-and-so, they're joining us, after the fact.
How does it track up that keep up with all the groups that you have? Because go in and monitor, like, oh, this one's gotten kind of quiet?
Well, I get, pretty much they've all gotten quiet after the sessions have finished. But sometimes somebody will get added later, or sometimes somebody will put up a question like, I lost track of the recordings, how can I get them? And I'll just go back there and say, just click on the files link, because there's a hyperlink, or not the files link, in the discussion thread. I put the recording up to a cloud folder like Dropbox, and so I put the hyperlink on the discussion page. They click the hyperlink and the playback just starts. So I just tell them, scroll down a little bit and you'll find the recording. So yeah, sometimes we get a question after the sessions have completed, and because it's Facebook and my notifications are turned on, I get the notification in my email, so I know that somebody's got a question.
Just keep them up for
I haven't had a need to take any down, but they've pretty much all gotten quiet since then. Okay. What's up next? So, now that you've done all that, now you can prepare your lesson plan content, because it's going to take some time for people to figure out, can they do these dates? You need a window of time for registrations to come in. You're going to have to feel out your audience on how much of a window makes sense for, you don't want to schedule it too far out in advance, but you also don't want it to be too soon, because if it's too soon, maybe enough people aren't going to get the word. So you want it to be far enough in advance that you think the people you're reaching out to are going to get that and have a chance to think or plan for attending. And that gives you some time to work with your material, your PowerPoint, your lesson plan content, how you're going to, and if you're doing a PowerPoint, you're going to do a screen share. As you're doing your content, keep in mind what kind of corresponding slides you want to show along with your script, if you will, your lesson plan script. So when we started developing ours first, we started with the script. But as we would do that script, I would get ideas for, maybe I want to show a meme here that I could, that would be out there. Or maybe I want to show a cartoon or some kind of an example, some kind of visual that just anchors what we're talking about. I'm not putting it out there like it's my own creation, but it's just a little visual that helps to anchor whatever it is we're trying to teach. Prepare your presentation content, your PowerPoint slides, or if you're an Apple user, your Keynote. So that can take you some time, but get your lesson plan script together first, and then figure out what your slide sequence would be. Get to know your online interface. Practice, practice, practice. If you're going to use Zoom or if you're going to use one of the others, one of the things that helped me a great deal that I got comfortable with it is that we would just, with some of our long distance friends, we would just get together on Zoom every once in a while just to have some chat time. Because, I haven't seen you guys in forever. So this way we can get together every few weeks and just feel like we're together sitting on the couch drinking wine. And sometimes wine comes along into the chat. So this gives you an opportunity to practice muting and unmuting yourself and everyone else. Raising and lowering of hands, because that's something your participants can do. They can, if you're in broadcast only mode and you've got everybody muted, you're only going to know if somebody has a question if they click on raise hand, and then you get a little notification on your screen that so-and-so has a question. You can practice using the chat window. So chatting with one person or two people, or broadcast to everyone. Testing out your webcam, your microphone, and your speakers. Practice with screen shares. So an example of this, we were having some Zoom meetups with a couple friends of ours. We wanted to meet somewhere for a weekend. So I went into screen share and started showing them some places that we might stay, hotels and stuff like that we might stay. So we could actually, it's like we're sitting together at the same computer and making a decision. You can practice recording the session, even though it's just an informal chat, and then practice what that playback looks like, and they can see it too. And if they're really, really good friends, you can ask them if it's okay if you rehearse your program content with them, and they can give you some feedback about what works pretty well and what needs some help. And then it's showtime. When it's the day of your presentation or the day of your first session or whatever, you want to log on, and as your participants come in, you want to welcome them. I always recommend that people log in like 15 minutes early, especially on the first session, so that you can start on time. It gives you a chance to troubleshoot if they're not hearing, or if their microphone's not working correctly, or if they're having display issues. That 15-minute buffer gives you time so that you know that you're going to be able to start on time and complete on time, respecting everybody's schedule. So introduce them to the interface and the menu options, how they raise their hands, how they mute themselves. Maybe they want to turn off their video for a minute. If they have to get up, if they can still hear, you can actually stop your video. And remember to hit the record button. I've done this. I was a professional recording engineer at recording studios. And the last thing you want to hear is at the end of the take, the guys in the studio say, "How did that go?" And you look at the tape player and it's not in record. So remember to hit the record button. And if you forget, you're going to have to start from the beginning. And once you hit that record button, everything counts from that point forward, because this is now what's being recorded. This is what the people who couldn't attend are going to see. And if you're going to offer it to people for a fee as an evergreen program, meaning it's always out there, it's always generating income for you, from the time that record button starts, everything counts from that point forward. After the sessions have completed, send a follow-up note to your participants, ask for feedback. This has been very helpful for me. Ask them what worked, what could have worked better. So you want to know what their experience was like on the receiving end. And stay in touch with them. Schedule some follow-up sessions maybe, and announce some of your other upcoming programs, or maybe they want to recommend your program to other people. So as I started doing this, we did this informally with friends, just in chatting, and some of the earlier experiences was helping Tracy Farquhar doing her webinar sessions with Mike Dooley. So if you've seen those early conversations between Mike and Frank, where Tracy is channeling, she's channeling from our home office. And she's become very accustomed to doing it there, because if she's in channeling mode, she's not going to be able to handle a technical issue if it comes up. So having someone there as the moderator and the facilitator is important to her. And it also helps us to hold space for her when she's in channeling mode.
Is that the contact series, Bob? Is that what that was?
Yeah. There was like three of them from a year ago. From that, I also I got the idea that I should offer myself and offer my services, because this is something I'm comfortable with, and it's not something that everybody's comfortable with. And while you can learn about this stuff, and I can teach you about this stuff, some people have taken my webinar and they go, "I'm really glad I understand this now, but I still want you to run my program for me, because I need to be able to concentrate on my participants, I need to be able to concentrate on my program content, and I can't be distracted. I'm going to feel too overwhelmed if I have to think about the technical side of things." So Rebecca and I partnered, and her I Believe in Me webinar series was done through my Zoom room as well. And that was very, very successful. We did a number of series of meetings with people, and we had folks logging in from all over the place. I've also had people take this webinar who I knew from the get-go they weren't going to be on the live sessions at all because of time zone issues. They were overseas, they were Australia, UK, or whatever. Time zone, whatever I picked was never going to match up for everybody. Yeah, so because of having those experiences, I figured I'm gonna establish a studio. So I established Pie in the Sky Studio web conferencing. And Fran and I started talking about, we should have a logo. And I said, okay, the logo should be a pie in the sky with clouds behind it, and let's give him sunglasses like he's the sun, headphones, and a microphone. So we reached out to this great service called Fiverr. Have you ever heard of Fiverr?
Yeah.
So there are graphic artists and people that have experience doing stuff, so we loved the first one that came back. We didn't really have to change very much about it.
What's it called?
Fiverr. Fiverr. So the cool thing is everything is like, you contract with somebody for $5. So this logo only cost us copies. Maybe we have to do it a second time, maybe. Yeah. So that's Pie in the Sky Studios. Pie in the Sky Studio has a Facebook page and also has a web page. So if you want to find that out there. I've noticed leading up to this conference, I've been seeing the number of views of my Facebook page increasing exponentially. So maybe because people knew that I was speaking this weekend, or maybe they just knew that I was going to be here at the conference, somehow something clicked and I got all these, the number of views keeps ticking up. So that's Pie in the Sky Studio. That's where I do this from. That's where I do the webinar version of this from. And that, so what we talked about today was the Infinite Possibilities Tech Support Forum page. Find me out there, request to join, and I'll approve you in. We talked about conference calls. We talked about Skype, the video conference calls, presentations and slideshows. We talked about webinar and web conferencing. By the way, webinar generally tends to mean you're in broadcast mode. You're just webcasting. Web conference is more interactive, where you can see and hear everybody that you're delivering to. And then we talked about that step-by-step guide to running your online programs.
Yeah.
That's my show, folks.
Let's go to Demetrician.